What's up, Taiwan? I'm Leslie Liao with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The world's biggest tech companies are in Las Vegas for annual expo CES. The hype around AI has carried through to the new year, but another talking point that's come up is U.S. President-elect Donald Trump and how his tariff strategy may impact the tech sector. Joyce Zeng has more.
Doors have opened in Vegas for one of the largest technology shows in the U.S., CES, or the Consumer Electronics Show. On display are the latest gadgets in automotives to robotics, like this electronic pet and this robotic exercise chair. The biggest buzzword, though, is still AI. And to keep up with this major demand for computing, leading chip designers have rolled out a slew of new semiconductors. California-based AMD unveiled a new roster of processors for laptops, desktops, and gaming handhelds. Intel, too, has come out with a new lineup of chips in its first expo since the shock resignation of its CEO, Pat Gelsinger, last month. Interim CEO Michelle Johnston Holthouse said the firm's new chips are more power efficient thanks to AI. Arguably the most highly anticipated product reveal came from NVIDIA, its Taiwan-born celebrity CEO Jensen Huang, showcasing the company's new RTX 50 series graphic cards.
Here it is.
It doubles the performance of its previous generation, marking a breakthrough for challenges like real-time rendering of video game graphics driven by AI. NVIDIA is also packing their computing power into thin, light laptops.
So can you imagine? You get this incredible graphics card here, Blackwell. We're going to shrink it and put it in there. Does that make any sense?
Huang's keynote comes off the back of NVIDIA's stock closing at a record high, bringing the company's valuation to $3.66 trillion US. Shares of chipmakers across the board have surged, riding on the promise of strong AI-led demand. That includes Taiwan's TSMC, whose shares beat its standing record from the previous day, closing around $35 US on Taiwan's exchange TAIEX. The Vegas trade show comes less than 2 weeks before President-elect Donald Trump takes office, and concerns around his campaign pledges to slap widespread tariffs on imports from U.S. trading partners are echoing within the show halls.
While tariffs are a negotiating tool for him, and will have some difficult, even terrorizing moments for the business community and American consumers, innovation in the world will be better off if the best people in the world can be allowed to create products and trade with each other.
Tech innovation is moving faster than ever, and though CES is keeping an upbeat tone focused on the gadgets, uncertainty lies ahead for the sector, with the threat of new government policies that could cost businesses billions. Devin Tsai and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
A classic of modern Taiwanese art now has a perfect reproduction. The clone was made with the help of high-definition scans, and it's just gone on display at the memorial to its painter. John Van Triest takes a look.
A woman in a richly embroidered kimono locks eyes with two goats in her path. The scene unfolds against a backdrop of lush foliage, vines growing on a trellis that take up most of the canvas. The English title of this painting has been variously translated as Cool Morning or Coolness in the Morning. But what's not in dispute is that this enigmatic painting is a classic of modern Taiwanese art, and it's been on the Culture Ministry's list of valuable antiquities since 2015. Now, thanks to a reproduction made with a high-definition scan, the work can be displayed in two places, expanding its audience. The unveiling of the replica came at the Memorial Center in Taichung that remembers the artist who painted it, Lin Zhizhu, a building where Lin once lived and worked. Lin's son hopes the reproduction of his father's most celebrated painting will bring a greater audience to what his father achieved.
不只是画本身，从巨观上看来的细节，你如果看微观里面，你会发觉他是把精神放在里面，所以这就是不一样的地方。
This 1940 painting is Lin's most famous work and is supposed to have been his favorite. It was painted during Japan's colonial rule over Taiwan, when Lin was a fine art student in Tokyo with big ambitions. This was his entry for a highly selective exhibition to mark 2,600 years of imperial rule in Japan. The idea of a mere student winning over the judges was hard to imagine, but Lin pulled it off, becoming the only entry from a Taiwanese painter to make the cut. Though Lin died in 2008, aged 91, his place in the Taiwanese art firmament is uncontested. He's especially remembered for his mastery of a difficult technique involving painting a mix of glue and pigment onto silk. Some in the art world hope to draw more attention to the glue tempera technique Lin made his trademark and passed down to a generation of younger Taiwanese artists.
邀请相关的艺术家来做展演的活动或师生作品的一些展出，然后透过这样的平台媒介，让社会大众对不管对教材或对艺术创作更多的认识。
With the replica's debut, Taiwan now has another way to remember one of its most important painters of modern times, and a chance to rediscover the rest of his life's work. Justin Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Farmers have been growing and drying persimmons in Taiwan for centuries, with persimmon cakes especially popular during the Lunar New Year period. But climate change is threatening farmers and the centuries-old custom. Wesley Lewis has more.
Carrying on a time-honored tradition, 68-year-old Lu Lijian's family has been making persimmon cakes for over a century, here at their orchard in northern Taiwan. Every winter, they lay out pitted and flattened persimmons on circular wire racks to dry in the wind and sun, a traditional technique used by the country's ethnic Hakka community.
阿公的时候就开始在这边做个柿饼了到现在已经有100多年了。因为我们这边的气候比较特殊嘛，还有叫做新竹风，所以比较干燥。
It's in this region that 90% of Taiwan's dried persimmon cakes are processed. They're a popular gift, especially during Lunar New Year. Much of what Lu dries out comes from other farms, like that of Luo Zhineng, who delivers truckloads of the fruit nearly every day. But he says the past 12 months have been tough. Taiwan's persimmon growing season usually lasts from September to December. But in 2024, 2 powerful typhoons made landfall in October, a first in the country's recorded history, devastating Luo's livelihood.
损产状还是台风影响比较大啦，这个叶子太大了，你台风一吹，叶子就掉光了，叶子掉了，果蒂就没有叶子，它就掉，果蒂就掉了啊。
Luo says his crop yield has dropped by at least a third compared to previous years, losing him over $30,000 in revenue. What's more, he says warming temperatures meant some of his trees that withstood the typhoons didn't bloom and produce fruit. 2024 was Taiwan's hottest year on record, and agricultural officials say climate change will only continue to aggravate matters.
近几年来，我们也发现，在大环境的一个改变，甚至气候变迁或者是暖化的这样的一个大趋势之下，那有一些产区会做一些位移，那有一些产量会受到外界的大环境的这样的一个影响，来受到这个产量，不管是产量或者品质上的一个浮动。
To offset this year's deficit from the low fruit supply, Lu Lijian's family plan to sell dyes made from persimmon skins, and to even use the seeds and peels to make skincare products. Like other farmers, Lu continues to make do with what he can, earning a living by carrying out an age-old tradition, despite the looming threat of climate change. Howard Zhang and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
And thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Before we go, take a look at this adorable scene of giant pandas playing in the snow as Washington, D.C. is blanketed by a winter storm. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care and see you next time.